Why is the unending hate on Ndi Igbo so much? Why are the Igbos hated? This is a question that has penetrated the hearts of Ndi Igbo for the longest of time. The Igbos, one of the three major ethnic groups in Nigeria, have often found themselves at the center of ethnic tensions within the country. From historical rivalries to economic and political frictions, the sentiment of hatred or discrimination towards the Igbos is rooted in a complex interplay of factors. While some of these feelings can be traced to specific events in Nigerian history, such as the Biafran War, others are linked to economic success, social mobility, and cultural distinctiveness. Today's video aims to explore the reasons behind the animosity, using historical records, expert opinions, and modern-day analysis to answer the question, why are the Igbos hated in Nigeria? Before British colonization, the different ethnic groups in Nigeria had their unique cultures, political systems, and trade networks. Igbos, known for their republican governance systems and strong kinship bonds, had no central authority like the Hausa Fulani in the north or the Yoruba in the southwest. This decentralization played a role in how they would later engage with the colonial government and other ethnic groups. The British colonial administration employed a divide and rule strategy where different ethnic groups were played against each other. The colonial administration heavily relied on indirect rule, particularly with the Hausa Fulani and Yoruba, while the Igbos, who lacked centralized kingship systems, were seen as more resistant to indirect rule. Igbos, due to their early embrace of Western education, became more involved in civil service and trade during the colonial period. This led to a significant number of Igbos moving to other parts of Nigeria, including Lagos and the northern cities. As they gained economic footholds in these regions, tensions began to rise, particularly as they competed with local populations for jobs and business opportunities. And also, during the Nigerian Civil War, one of the most critical moments in the history of Igbo-Nigerian relations was the 1996 coup led by mostly Igbo military officers. While the coup was not ethnically motivated, it was perceived as such, especially since several northern leaders were killed. This perception led to retaliatory attacks on Igbos living in northern Nigeria, resulting in mass killings and what many described as ethnic cleansing. In 1967, following the massacre of Igbos in the north and the failure of political negotiations, the southeastern region declared itself the independent state of Biafra. The ensuing civil war lasted from 1967 to 1970, resulting in the deaths of an estimated 1 to 3 million people, many due to starvation. The defeat of Biafra and the reintegration of the Igbos into Nigeria left deep scars. Many Igbos felt marginalized politically and economically for decades after the war. After the war, the no victor, no vanquished policy was declared by the federal government. However, the reconstruction of Igbo regions was slow and many felt excluded from the national power structure. In terms of the Igbo business acumen, one stereotype that persists about the Igbos is that they are economically driven and successful traders. Indeed, many Igbos have become prominent in Nigeria's business world, dominating sectors such as trade, manufacturing, and even real estate. While this success is celebrated within the Igbo community, it has also fueled resentment from other ethnic groups. The perception that Igbos control large portions of the Nigerian economy, especially in regions outside the southeast, sometimes leads to tension. In several northern and western cities, Igbos have set up thriving businesses. Their success has occasionally led to accusations of economic domination, with some locals feeling displaced in their own regions. These sentiments can sometimes fuel xenophobic attitudes and violent attacks on Igbo businesses, as seen in the various ethnic riots and clashes in Nigerian cities over the decades. Since Nigeria's independence, the Igbos have often felt politically marginalized. After the Civil War, the Igbo population has not produced a Nigerian president, and many feel that they are systematically excluded from positions of power. This exclusion from the highest political offices has reinforced feelings of alienation. The ongoing call for restructuring Nigeria to give more autonomy to the regions is strong within the Igbo community. Groups like the Movement for the Actualization of the Sovereign State of Biafra, MASOB, and the Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, continue to push for secession, or at least greater autonomy. These movements have been met with hostility by the Nigerian state, further perpetuating the notion that Igbos are seen as troublemakers or separatists. The Igbos have a strong sense of identity, pride, and community, which sometimes clashes with other ethnic groups. Their communal lifestyle, entrepreneurial spirit, and assertiveness are often misunderstood or misrepresented as arrogance or a desire to dominate. These stereotypes have persisted for decades and have contributed to negative perceptions of the Igbo people. While the Igbos are predominantly Christian, northern Nigeria is largely Muslim. This religious difference has also played a role in fostering mistrust and animosity between the Igbos and the northern part of the country. Religious riots in the north have often targeted Igbos, who are seen as outsiders due to both their ethnicity and religion. In recent years, social media has become a battleground for ethnic and regional sentiment. Many Igbos use platforms like Twitter and Facebook to express their frustrations with the Nigerian state, calling out what they see as systemic injustices against their people. However, this online activism has also led to the spread of stereotypes and divisive rhetoric, which further fuels the perception of the Igbos as being overly confrontational. As Nigeria's economic challenges have worsened, with widespread unemployment and poverty, ethnic tensions have heightened. Igbos, who are often perceived as economically successful, are sometimes scapegoated for the country's broader economic woes. This resentment is not unique to the Igbos, but they often find themselves at the center of these tensions due to their visibility in business and trade. For Nigeria to overcome these ethnic tensions, there needs to be a concerted effort at promoting unity and inclusiveness. The Igbos, like every other ethnic group in Nigeria, have contributed immensely to the nation's growth and development. Recognizing and celebrating this diversity, rather than allowing it to be a source of division, is essential for national cohesion. The Nigerian government must ensure that all ethnic groups, including the Igbos, are fairly represented in political decision-making processes. Additionally, addressing economic inequalities and creating opportunities for all Nigerians will reduce the sense of competition and resentment that often fuels ethnic tensions. More than 50 years after the Biafran War, there's still a need for national reconciliation, addressing the historical grievances of the Igbos through truth-telling, reparative justice, or symbolic gestures could help heal some of the wounds that continue to fester. The animosity or hatred towards the Igbos in Nigeria is deeply rooted in a mix of historical, economic, political, and cultural factors. From the colonial era to the Nigerian Civil War, and even in contemporary times, the Igbos have faced challenges that have shaped their relationship with the rest of the country. However, despite these challenges, the Igbos have continued to thrive, contributing significantly to Nigeria's development. The key to resolving these tensions lies in addressing the root causes of inequality and fostering a spirit of unity and mutual respect among all Nigerians. Thank you for tuning into Ebony People TV.
I'm going to Delbro. That's the best hotel right now. You whatever talking about.
The Delboro Lagos, a masterpiece in opulence.